I'm Sherine El Bayoomy. I work for the Washington Post Cairo office here in Egypt.
Okay. Did you report on the revolution during the 18 days of protests?
Yes, I did. Absolutely. Every day.
How was it?
It was very emotional for me.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I think, the most exciting time probably in my adult life. I was a little bit torn between having to cover it as a reporter and between wanting to participate as an Egyptian. That was a little bit difficult to handle. But I realized at some point that this was the role that I was meant to play, which was covering it and in that sense providing some sense of security for the people who were demonstrating.
Mm-hmm. And you're reporting now?
Yes. Well, you know, since the revolution began, what we've noticed, which was quite amazing, is the surge of reporting that happened on Egypt. Normally any newspaper office, foreign newspaper office, will have one correspondent that is present in Egypt and locals assisting them, such as myself. During the revolution, we saw up to 11 Washington Post journalists in Cairo at the same time. I don't think I've ever, no, I'm actually pretty sure this has never happened since I started to work in 2001. And it was very exciting, it was very exhausting, and it was very pleasant to realize, well, pleasant is a very passive word, but it was very exciting to realize the kind of attention that Egypt was getting and the kind of reputation we were giving out about ourselves.
How would you say private media and public media covered the revolution? Like, could you compare that?
Part of my work for the Post was to watch the public meeting, the Egyptian public meeting, which for me was extremely frustrating. Because I was on the streets with the people, witnessing something that was so incredible. And I'm not going to say it made me proud to be an Egyptian for the first time, because that would be a lie. I've always been proud of being Egyptian. But it made me incredibly proud of my people in a way that I don't think I had been before. I hadn't realized the amount of awareness, amount of courage, amount of love that was out there. And to see the passivity of the Egyptian media towards that. Not only that, but to actually encourage people to believe that these people were traitors or that they were agents to foreigners. That was a very sad day for me to watch.
Okay. Could you compare, do you think they changed somehow after Mubarak's
of course
ousting?
There's been a huge change, I cannot deny that. Mm. But it's very difficult to bring people who've been working in a certain way for 30 years. Their job, primary job, was to parrot whatever the government was telling them to say, and to suddenly expect them to become journalists or reporters. That's very difficult. And it's a bit unfair to expect it to happen overnight. So yes, there has definitely been an improvement, but I think coverage of the referendum, for example, was a bit disappointing for me. I could see that the reporters on the ground had a lot to say, and wanted the opportunity to say it, but the anchor people in the studio would not allow them to speak. They would cut them off a lot. They didn't want them reporting on anything negative. We have this belief somehow that anything negative is disaster, it's the end of the world. I think the media needs to start understanding that negatives are a normal part of life and of existence, and it is absolutely okay to address them and to bring them out so that they can be addressed and can be changed. And I think this is going to take time.
Okay. So you think private media was always more credible, whether it's before or after Mubarak's
regime? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. What about global media?
What I found very interesting, you know, as a reporter, usually the way I would get my news is watch a little bit of CNN, watch a little bit of BBC, watch a little bit of Al Jazeera, and you have a general idea between the three different opinions where the truth is. can sort of feel your way to what's happening. During this revolution, I think Al Jazeera played a very difficult and different role. It stood out as the primary news provider, I think. And I think this was addressed and accepted by the Americans for the very first time, that Al Jazeera is a credible news agency that actually provided the most amount of news during this time.